What you think of Congress's impeachment power shouldn't depend on what you think of President Trump. When you lower the bar to impeachment to get rid of a president you hate, or raise it to protect a president you like, you may end up regretting that when power changes hands. Donald Trump's not going to be the last president we have, so it's important to get this right. Let's try to tune out the red team, blue team shouting match and dispel some popular myths about impeachment. Myth number 1, you have to commit a crime to be impeached.
Because people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
Actually, if the framers had limited impeachment to crimes, they'd have made it a dead letter from the start. In the early years of the Republic, there were hardly any federal crimes on the books. In fact, in our entire 230-year constitutional history, fewer than 1/3 of the impeachments approved by the House have been based on a criminal statute. And that makes sense because the purpose of impeachment is not so much to punish bad actors, but to protect the public from officials who are unfit to wield power. Myth number 2. An impeachable offense is whatever a majority of the House considers it to be. That's what Gerald Ford famously said in 1970, but it's wrong on 2 counts. First, legally. The Constitution doesn't reduce the impeachable offense to whatever you can get the votes for. It provides a legal standard. Second, that standard turns out to matter in practical terms because if the legal grounds are weak, impeachment is much less likely ultimately to succeed. That's what happened in our first presidential impeachment trial in 1868 after the House impeached President Andrew Johnson for firing his Secretary of War in violation of the Tenure of Office Act. There were more than enough Republicans in the Senate to nail Johnson on a party line vote, but he escaped conviction, in large part because key Republican senators didn't think breaking that law was an impeachable offense. Myth number 3, impeachment is limited to deliberate abuse of official power. Actually, throughout American history, federal officers have been impeached for offenses ranging from petty corruption to neglect of duty to just undermining the public's confidence in their ability to do the job. So when Donald Trump asked, back during the Obama administration, are you allowed to impeach a president for gross incompetence? It was a good question. The answer is maybe. James Madison said that impeachment was a defense against the president's incapacity, negligence, or perfidy. Abuse of power isn't the only way someone can disqualify himself from high office. Myth number 4, the 25th Amendment is a legitimate substitute for impeachment. That amendment, which was drafted in the wake of the Kennedy assassination, allows the vice president to step in when the president is declared unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Lately, there's been a lot of loose talk about using it to repeal and replace the Trump presidency. But the 25th Amendment was designed to cover situations of near total disability. Say a president put into a coma by a stroke or an assassin's bullet. It was never supposed to be an eject button for presidents who behave badly. If their behavior's bad enough, that's what impeachment is for. Myth number 5, impeachment is a constitutional crisis. You hear this sort of thing, and even worse, whenever impeachment talk is in the air. It's a coup, a constitutional nuclear weapon, a national nightmare. Our Constitution's framers weren't nearly that angsty about it. As Benjamin Franklin put it, impeachment provides for the regular punishment of the executive when his misconduct should deserve it, and his honorable acquittal when he should be unjustly accused. An impeachment debate isn't a constitutional crisis. It's the Constitution working as intended. I'm Gene Healy from the Cato Institute. Check out my new white paper on impeachment at cato.org.